All right, so in our last class, we stopped at sales ribbon group. Hopefully you understood what we learned that day and can apply them. I also believe that you have practiced them on your own so that the learning can stick. Today we are going to talk about another ribbon group known as editing. Still under home ribbon tab. So this editing has a lot of things in it. Some of those functionalities are used by data analysts and normal users of Excel, Microsoft Excel. So we are going to look at them one by one. Hopefully we are going to be able to finish with what we have there before our time elapses. So right now, I want you to enter some values, or you can open that file that we use for conditional formatting and maybe copy this. Anyway, let me just copy maybe up to 30 records. Then paste here so that we can use it to learn today. Let's quickly look at editing ribbon group under home ribbon tab. This is where we are going to learn today. All right, so the first thing there is the sum. And of course, this is very simple. If I copy this and paste here, and then I need the sum of this, right? There is a manual way. Let me reduce the values a little. Or let me just type a few numbers so it will make it easier. So I have 5, 2, 6, maybe 4. If I want the total of this here, there are different ways I can do it. Right? There are different ways it can be done. But we always go for the one that is faster and more professional. One way to do it is in Excel, when you want to enter any formula, you have to start with equal to, the equal to sign. So I can say equal to 5 plus 2 plus 6 plus 4 and press enter key. It will give me the total of these numbers. But that's not the, it can give you the total, but this is not a recommended way, because if I come here and change this to 10, this total will still remain 17 because it was statically done. It was manually done, right? So there is another way that I can do this dynamically so that anytime I change any number here, the total will also change, right? But I can still use is a semi, will I call it a semi-manual way? I can type my equal to, I click this, I type plus 2, I click plus 6 plus 4. Now, what you're looking at here, instead of using the numbers as they are, we are using cell references. All right. you can see that this is L2. L2. Remember what I taught you the other day? In order for you to know the name of a cell, when you click that cell, you look at the name box here. Or when you look at this point, you can see that this is L1 and 2. So that's L2, this is L3, this is L4, and this is L5. So that is what you have here. So you can now press your enter key to give you this 22 here. Let me make it maybe red and format it to be bold too. So doing this, even though it is not the optimized way, if I come here and make this one 12 and press my enter, automatically that total will change. Is that understood? This total will change. If I change 4 to 2, the total will change to 30. You can see that happening here. So that's a dynamic way to do your calculations and enter your formulas in Microsoft Excel. Now, there's another way to do this, which is a sure way. I can enter my formula as sum. I can type it. When you are acquainted with it, you can just type equal to sum. You can see sum pops up here. I can click it or press my tab key, and then this is L2 down to L5. So what I will do is I will just type L2, and you can see that it automatically highlights 10. Since I am going to calculate down to L5, the next thing I will add there is colon. This colon means it's a range. It shows a range. So I will type L5 and close my bracket. So this means sum these numbers from L2 to L5. So if when I press enter, it gives me the total. I hope you understand.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Now that's a way, and this is exactly, if you look at the formula bar, you can see the formula that brought in that answer here. Okay, so now I just wanted to show you the manual way of doing it, or when you're acquainted with it, you can use this formula and type it by yourself. But as beginners also, the faster way of doing this is just put your cursor here, come here and click sum. Press your enter key. It does that. If you check, it is the same thing I did, equal to sum L2 colon L5, meaning sum the numbers that are in L2 to L5. This one too is dynamic way of summing your range. So in this range of values, if I change anything here, change this one to 15, of course the expected total will update also. Hopefully that is understood. Now let me copy this and paste maybe here. The same way, I want to get the average of this, right? Just hold on. Before we go to the average, let's check something here. That's one way. One way is to put your cursor here. Another way is to just highlight this. and then you come and click your sum, you can see immediately this one does not need me to press enter key before the total value will come out, will show. Do you understand? You see the difference now? Let me do it again. I highlight the range of values I want to sum. I come here and click sum. It just brings in. I think that's the fastest one. So whichever one you want to use, you can use it. Now let's go to this. We can just highlight and click average. It brings it in immediately. The same thing I did in sum here, you can also do in average. Those manual ways of doing, of calculating or entering your formulas, you can also do it with these values, with this average, sorry. Right? So these are the big five. They call them the big five formulas in Microsoft Excel. The summation, the average, the count numbers, the maximum, and the minimum. Now let us see what the next one does. Let me just paste this here. So here I can just highlight again and count. Count returns 4. Why? You can see the formula here. Count returns 4 because if I count the cells that we selected, they are 4. That is 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's why it returns 4 here. If I come down to this one and click my drop down and come to maximum, this one will give me the maximum number among or in this range of values that I selected. As I told you the other day, when I say highlight, it means select. It's the same thing, right? So if I click maximum, it returns 15 because 15 is the highest number here. The same thing is applicable to minimum. This means minimum. So it will return 2 as my minimum number. You see it? And then look at the formula if you are typing it. Do you understand? So this row now returns some calculations from these numbers. I hope you understand. The 5 that we have here are not the whole formula. So if you click more, right, it brings out this dialog box and you can do other things here, right? The mathematical formulas that are here are a lot. So maybe by the time we'll talk about formula, we will come back here. But look at those 5 we have used. The sum is here, the average is here. We have not done anything about if. We'll still talk about it later. Count, right? And then that's the one that returns this 4, the maximum. This is a sign. So if I come here and click all, you will see that we have a lot of formulas here. There is no how you can memorize all these formulas, right? You can only look for them and use them when you are in need of them. So we'll talk more about formula. And I just wanted to show you that we have, apart from those 5, we have other ones. When you click here, you have more functions. So we call them functions in Microsoft Excel. We call them functions because those formulas are built into names. Like when you have, this is max, a formula is built to this name, right? You only enter the parameters and then it will give you what you want, okay? So they are called functions. All right, so now the next thing we want to look at here is what we call fill. Now, if I have a value here, let me demonstrate how fill works. If I have 20 20, if I have 20 in this cell, and I want to fill this 20 down maybe to this place, I can do it manually by dragging down here. You can see that the 20 fills the whole of those cells. So the next way to do it, you saw what I did. When you click any cell, you will discover that it has a small square here. And if you touch that place with your cursor, it changes to a cross. That is what I use to drag down to fill these numbers up to this point. Hopefully you understand. You can also double click if you have a particular range. It will fill it. We'll do that later. But now, if I want to fill it without using this place, I can just highlight or select this one down to this point. And I come here and click down. This is fill down. I click and it will give me that. In the same vein, if I want to fill to the right, I can click maybe only one cell and drag it to the right, and it will fill it for me. If I want to select, if I want all these places to be filled with 20, I can either use my cursor here to drag down, and it will fill it for me. Or I can just highlight up to this point, or select up to that point, up to this range of cell, up to this point, and I go and select my right, fill right, and it will do the same thing. The same thing is applicable if I am filling up. Let me type another number here, say 25. And I want to fill this 25 up to this point. You see where 25 is. 25 is down. I want to fill it upward. So I press my up. If 25 is right here, or say 20 or 30 is here, and I want to fill it to the left. Sorry, let me still use this 25. It can be any number, it can be anything. I want to fill this 25 to the left down to this point. That's when I use left. I hope you understand. Now the next one is across worksheet. You can see that fill across worksheets is not active here. The reason is because we are currently active in sheet 1. If I add another sheet now, maybe 2 sheets or 3 sheets, we have sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4. And from sheet 2 to sheet 4, we don't have anything at all in them. We only have something in sheet 1. Okay? So, if I want to fill across sheets, I will highlight the portion I want to fill across the sheet. Right? And I will come down here to the sheet, press. If I want to fill sheet 2, sheet 3, and sheet 4 with this value here, with this data set, right? What I will do is to press my shift down and click sheet 4. You can see that from sheet 1 to sheet 4, the 4 sheets are highlighted, right? Because I press shift down and just click sheet 4. Sheet 1 is the active sheet, but I press shift key on my keyboard down and then selected sheet 4. That's why it selected sheet 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. And then if I come to my field, you can see that across worksheet is now active. So if I click here now, it will ask me, this little dialog box is asking me, are you going to fill everything here? I can say yes by clicking OK. Now, if I come back to click sheet 2, you will see that the whole, that data set that I selected is filled in sheet 2, sheet 3, the same thing, and sheet 4. Do you understand? Now, let me create more sheets so that we use it to learn other ones. I have filled sheet 1 to sheet 4. Okay, now for example, let me format this a little bit. Say with red color, bold, and okay, maybe I will add my borders, to this data, all borders. I want to show you the difference between all and content. I can change this one to maybe another color. Say this blue. This blue. Okay. I want to fill across worksheets again. But this time around, I don't want all the sheets to have this data set. So I want to jump some sheets. Like sheet 6 has nothing. We have already filled up to sheet 4. Sheet 5 has nothing. Sheet 6 has nothing. And so on. So I want what I select here to be here only in sheet 6. I will jump sheet 5. Remember that there is nothing here. So I want everything that is here in sheet 1 to come to be filled in sheet 6. So what I will do is to press my control key down and click sheet 6. You can see that because of the control key that I pressed down, sheets 2, 3, 4, and 5 are not selected. The only 2 sheets I have selected are sheet 1 and sheet 6. And so if I go to my field, across worksheet, all is still selected, I can click OK. Now you can see that sheet 2 still remains without those formatting. But when you come to sheet 6, you see that both the formatting, both the borders and this blue formatting here still remains. I want to show you the difference between all and content. Now let's fill sheet 1, this same data set, to sheet 7. I press my control key down, click sheet 7. Come to my field, select across worksheet. This time around, I'm not going to use all, right? I want to use contents. So when I click contents and click my OK to confirm, when I come to sheet 7, what do you observe? It only fills the content. The format is not there. Can you see this? This was in blue color. This was in red and bold. But it only fills the content without the format. None of the formatting came with this. But remember, in sheet 1, it has that. So all actually fills the next sheet with both the formatting and the content. But when you select content alone, it will only take the content without any formatting. That's what happened here. And lastly, let us just fill sheet 8 with the last one with formats only. Now, for you to understand, if you check sheet 1 from A1 to H1, from A1 to H1, you have this format in it. And if I come to sheet 8 and type something here, say maybe A, you can see that it is normal. Can you see that? It is normal. But this time around, let me delete this. I want to paste the format of this sheet 1. What that format will do is, it will not paste the content at all. It will only paste this format such that if after pasting the format, I want to type anything here, it will take this format, right? And this colon will also take this format. This row will take this format. And this colon will also take this format. Let's do that. I'll highlight or select and press my control down and click click sheet 8. Now I have selected sheet 1 and sheet 8. So I go to my field, across worksheet. This time around, I'm selecting format and click OK. Now, if I come to sheet 8, you will not see any of these values. You see it? There is no values, no values here. But the format, both the borders are here, right? Because I am pasting the format. You are not seeing any values. So anything I type here now, in this first row, right, will have a red color. Say ID. Can you see that? Name. Any other thing you want to type, in as much as what you are typing is in this first row, all this will take red colors. Can you see that? And if I type anything here, whether it is text or numbers, it will take that format up to this point. And if you come here, it will be black because this place was black, right? So what that format does is it only copies the format that we have in sheet 1. And by format, I mean the border, the boldness of the font, and the color of the font, right? So those were the formats we gave to this column and then this row. So sheet 8 takes that format. It pastes the format here without pasting the content. I hope that is understood. So there may be times you need to do this, even if it's not normally used all the time, but there are times you may need to do this, depending on the type of work you are doing. I hope that's understood. All right, so now series. Let's talk about series. I want to look at this. If I type 1 here and I highlight it or select it down this place, come to my field, series, right? And Excel automatically selects colon here for me because it has sensed that I selected a colon, right? If I selected a row, it will do the same thing. So this series, the step value is 1. All right, it means that if I click, when I click OK here, it will fill the whole of this with values 1, 2, 3, 4 until the last. Let's see that. Can you see that? This is 31. Now, if I still have number 1 here, and I select it downward, come back to my series, and say, okay, let me change the step value to 2. It could be any number, and click OK. The step value increases the value by 2. So it adds 2 to 1, 3, 2 to 3, 5. So this one returns odd numbers, right? Because I added 2, the step value is 2. If I have 2 here, I say, okay, let me select down, fill my series, step value by 4. You see what it does there? It increases the values by 4. And then if I have maybe 3 here, it could be any number. I select it down, and I come to my series field, and I said, okay, start from, let the step value be 3, and end the value at say 60. I am putting a constraint now, right? I click OK. Once it fills up to 60, it will stop. Hopefully it is understood. Or should I do it again? This is where constraint comes to play. If I select down here, yes. If I select down here, I come to my series and say, okay, increase it by 5. And at 70, and click OK. You see, the moment it gets to 70, it will stop. It will not fill down to where I selected to. So that's how it works. So what I have done now can also happen to a row. The same way, just highlight or select your row. Okay, said okay, step it maybe by 5, step value 5, stop at say 20. You see it increases it and stop at 20. But if I did not constrain it to stop at 20, it will fill to where I selected down to. Now let us look at another one. Let me use this number now. And remember, we are still using the colon. We are using colon O now, right? So if I come to growth, right, and I say grow this number by step value of 10, I just type my 10 and click OK. Watch what will happen. Now you see that this growth is exponential, kind of. All right, so 10 times 10 is 100. 100 times 10 is 1,000. 1,000 times 10, right? Just like that. It grows until it enters the scientific number, because the number is too big, right? Here. The number is big. Look at the number here. So when you click this scientific number, you can see Excel automatically converts it to this. So you will see what number is there when you click this up to this point. You see how it grows. So In the same vein, if I want to grow it and stop at this 10 million, right? I can constrain it the same way I did for, let me type 10 again. And then I come to series and grow it by 10, and then I stop at maybe 10 million. And click OK. See it, once it gets to 10 million, it stops. So that's how growth works. So if you have this kind of values that are predictable, that has a pattern, right? You can use this to make your work faster. So the next one there is for date. And for this date to be used, you have to type date. All right? So we are still doing the same thing we have done for numbers. We can do it for date. So let's say we have one, and I want to fill it down here. The same thing, click your field series, and automatically you see that Excel has understood that this is a date. All right? It fills. Do you understand? Let's do that again. We fill the date by day. This is by day. You can fill it by week, by month, and by year. By week, weekday will fill it and stop at Friday, while month will continue monthly, and then year will continue yearly. Let's just see how it works. So date, step value, just one. Remember how step value works. It can also work here by date. So you see that 11 January, 12 January, 13, 14, 15 to 25 January. Let me just copy this and paste. The same thing, I can go back and fill it by weekday. I can also fill it by month. The month will be changing instead, right? For this one, by weekday, you see that it changed. When it gets to Friday, it will jump to Monday. Okay? So next one is series, but fill it with month. Click OK. You can see that the months are changing. This is January, February, March, April, May, June, July, just like that. All right? So when it gets to December, it starts again and enters 2025. And lastly, we can fill for year. Series, your date, and you select here, click OK. Now you see that it is the date, the year that is changing up to 2038. I hope that is understood. So there are different things you can do with your field. And the one that's remaining, AutoFill. Let me press that one here and select down. Go to my field and select AutoFill. Of course, as the name implies, it will fill it automatically. The same thing you have here, it is the same thing you have here. Linearly, it will fill it automatically. Remember that when you use your step value, it will fill according to your step value. I hope that is understood. You can use AutoFill to fill this. If it is this way, you can still do the same. AutoFill. So you don't need to type Monday, type Tuesday, type Wednesday. You can use AutoFill to do that. The next one is justify. Now, if I have like Monday and I fill it maybe to Sunday or any okay, this one Monday comes in again. Remember, this one you can also do it manually. All right. If I drag down, it will do the same thing that is happening here. All right. You see it. So Excel is very intelligent to do this if I drag. So that's one way of doing it. If you drag, it will still give you the same result. But if you go and fill it, it will still give you the same results. So the next one is this justify. Fill justify. Watch what it will do. Let me increase this one a bit. The width of this column a bit. Now, if I select this range of data here and come here and select justify, can you see what it did to the value? Now, any of these big days that can enter to within this space or within this width, it brings it from where it was and adds to the other one. It brings Thursday from where it was and adds to Wednesday because this space or this cell can contain Wednesday and Thursday. It only separates it by a space here. Now, assuming this Sunday, assuming this space was able to contain Sunday, it would have brought Sunday here. So if we shift again, let's see what happens. Can you see it? Now the space is enough to take Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday cannot enter this space. That's why it's here. Hopefully, you understand what is happening there. Let's look at the next one. Flash fill. Flash fill automatically fills data. Now let me show you how it works. Let me copy this one down here so that when it looks for a pattern to use closer to that data, it can use it. Let's go again. You see what happens? Now, what flash fill does is that it looks for a pattern around this data and use it to fill this one. A pattern around this Monday that I type, right? And use that pattern to fill this one. Now, when I use this one and it complained that time, it looked for any pattern around this place. It didn't see, that's why it complained. Do you understand? So, flash fill, let me use number for it. Let me see where I can type numbers. Okay. Let me move down a bit and use numbers to demonstrate it too. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So I highlight this or select this flash fill. It checks around, get this, and use it to fill this. Right? So that is how flash fill works. Remember, you can also drag this. When you drag, it fills with the same value, except you have a pattern. If I type 20 here and type 21, there is a pattern now. So if I select these two of them and drag down, it will continue 22, 23 because there is a pattern. Is that understood? So that's how this fill works. Flash fill works. Hopefully, you understand that. I've taken my time to explain how they work to you. So the next one here is clear. Clear simply means delete or remove. All right. So this one clears everything from the selected cell. If you select, it's just like delete. Like now I select here and say clear. It deletes it. This very one, clear format. For example, if I have that tool and make it bold and change the color to blue, or let me use red so that you can see it very well. All right. So if I put my cursor here and say, it can be a range of cells, so not just a cell. Okay. So if I put my cursor right here and say clear format, what it will do is to remove that boldness from that tool and the red color. It returns to normal. We go again. Clear content. It clears the content of that place. Right? Clear comment is the same thing. Well, we don't have any comments in this spreadsheet yet because we've not learned how to insert comments. All right, comments and hyperlinks is the same thing. So if you clear comments, it will clear all the comments and notes. If you clear hyperlink, it will just clear the hyperlinks from the selected text, right? And then if you can also remove hyperlink entirely. So we'll talk about this later. The next one we want to talk about is this. Now, let's go back to sheet 1 and get a copy, say, of this price and take it to, let's use sheet 9 this time around. Let me paste it here. Okay, here is sort. When you click and drop down, sort A to Z means sort from the smallest to the largest. So if you look at this number, it will sort from the smallest to the largest. Very important for data analysts. This sorting of data. All right, before I sort it, let me just have a copy of this. Maybe paste here. Let me sort this again. From smallest to the biggest. You can see that 295 is the biggest, while this 114 is the smallest. Now let's go down. If I want to sort from the biggest to the smallest, I use this largest to smallest number. 295 now is the one that starts this data range. I hope you understand. This also works with A, B, C, D. It also works with A, B, C, D. So if I type my A, B, C, okay, let me mix it up. A, C, D, B, F, and E. It also works. Sorting also works from big to small. Copy this down. And then we can go from small to, you can see it change this into Z to A and A to Z. Now, you can see the reason why I copied this number down. The Excel is telling me that, look, as I am about to sort now, I am seeing data by this column. That's column C has data. Should I include those data in my sorting? That is what this grammar is all about. Microsoft will say found data next to your selection. Since you have not selected this data, it will not be sorted, and that's fine for me, right? But if you click expand selection, what do you want to do? Continue with the current selection is what I will select. The reason is I want only this selection to be sorted from large to small. But if I select expand the selection, it will expand that selection to any data that is around this column. For example, this one. It will extend that sorting to this one. So, but I don't want to do that. I will just come and say, continue with the current selection and click sort. And that is why it only sorts this very column. Hopefully that's understood. Let's look at the next one there. It's a custom sort. Custom sort. Now, custom sort works with more than one column also. So it sorts more than one data column. Something like this. Are we together? So now I can use custom sort to sort different levels of this table right now. All right. So I can sort by name, and then by department, by score, and by joining year. All right. You can just use two of them to sort. So what happens is, when I highlight this or select this table, or let me start from here. Yeah. So I come to my custom sort. Sort by what? Name. That is this column. All right. Then sort on cell values. Is it cell value? Is it color? Is it font color? Is it conditional formatting? Right now, we'll leave the default as A, now A to Z. Fine. I add another level. Sort by what? Department. Cell value A to Z. I can add another one. You see why it is called custom sort. I can select another department, score, right? Smallest to the largest. Okay, I leave it. And then I can add another one for the joining year. Say smallest to the largest. You can select whatever you want to use here. Largest to smallest, you know, and so on. That's for all these ones, what you have here. Or you can even customize your own from here. you know, new list, Monday to Sunday. You can create your own list by using custom list. When you click custom list, you can generate your own list. Maybe if the list is not any of this, you can generate and make use of it. But right now, we don't have the time to generate the list for that. Okay, so we come back here and click OK. Let's go back again. Custom sort. I want to sort by departments. Let me mix some data up here. 2020, 2019, 20, okay. It's already mixed. 85, this data. Okay. Come down here. Take our custom sort. You sort the names. This one is sorted already. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, G is not sorted. All right. From A to Z. Okay, let me use Z to A now. I add another one and say departments, A to Z. Okay, let me leave it there. I add another one. Score can be smallest to largest. I add another one and go for my joining year. Can be from the largest to the smallest. So let's see what happens when we click OK. You can see that this table was not like this before, right? If I undo and copy, and then I redo, look at this table. Oh, let me undo again. Copy this table and paste here. So I just want you to see the difference, right? In case you did not observe how it changed. So you come to your custom sort. Remember what I did? Name was Z to A. I add another one. Departments. I left it at A to Z or A to Z, whatever you call it. Next one, store, smallest to largest. And next one, I will take my joining year from the largest to the smallest. And then when I click OK, now you see that these guys sort from the largest, that's from J down to A, whereas it was A down here. This one sorts IT and so on. You can see that this one starts with HR. This one sorts from, you can see the second one is 92 here, the second one is 95 here. Okay, this is the unsorted one. This is the sorted one. So what happens is that it sorts anyone it sorts it with the whole row. Do you understand? So that it will not sort it and take this 85 and give it to another year. Do you understand? So when it sorts it with this year. Alice, everything that goes with Alice goes together. Everything that goes with Bob, when I sort any of them here, it goes together with Bob. That's what you are seeing here. That's what is happening right here. Do you understand? Because if you sort only this one now, if it takes Bob to where Jack is, it means this data will be lost. All right, there will be a mix up. So Bob will go to this point. Instead of going with its own record, it goes and takes another person's record. So that's why Excel sorts it as a row. And that's why you are seeing what you are seeing right now. This was the original data. This is the sorted data here. Hopefully that is understood. Let's talk about filter. Filter is used. Yes. Go ahead.
Sorry, the sorting. When you did this sorting, you did department, score, joining year.
Yes.
But what we are saying, in order not to list or deduct any data, it follows the department, it follows the name.
It carries everything in the column.
Okay.
It carries everything.
So that,
Yes. Hello?
hello, sir.
Yes.
So the sorting by department, score, and joining year, I think that one is not effective yet.
No, it is now. I did not sort only this one. Why it is called custom sorting is because it can sort different columns at the same time. But that does not mean that it will only sort this particular one, without the corresponding records. Anyone it sorts it with all its record. It does not leave the record and sort only this. If we want to sort only this one, then we have to select only this one. Remember what happened the other time? That it says there was expansion. Or this expansion is what custom sorting does. All right, it sorts with the corresponding record. So if I just say now continue with the current selection and click sort, you can see that there is a mix-up in this data right now. This data is no more correct because you can take one person that was in sales department and give that person IT. You see it? So let me undo that. I hope you understand what I mean.
Well understood, sir.
All right, all right. So the next one is filter. Okay, so if I have okay, let me just copy this and make use of it. I want to paste it here, and then I paste it here and here. Filter, what filter does is simple. In a data set, right, where you want to see similar data, you can introduce a filter there. It's very important to us. The filter function is very important. So let me highlight this and introduce a filter there. You see this guy that is here, this drop down. Now, if you check the inside this filter, you only have a list bulb up to this. You see them here. Now, if I remove this selection and say I want to see only data with a list here and click my OK, this is what happens. It will hide every other row and brings only a list here. If I go back and say, okay, add Bob to these people, it adds Bob to the list. Do you understand what it does? If I add Eve, it adds Eve. Now, why this one is affected is because I pasted the data in the same row, right? If it was any other place, it won't affect it. Do you understand? But if I select all, every one of them will come out. Do you understand? You can filter it by equal to, you put a particular, if it was data, equals to, say, Dave. All right? And click OK. You see that only Dave will come out here, from here. from where I put my cursor. You can sort it, you know, words beginning with, you put whether it is A or D, ending with words that contains. This thing is not only for a particular column. All right, it's not only for a particular word. Like it could be more than any of these. So if I click this and then I go to my sorting and filter it, the words beginning with D can enter my D here, right? And then we have this logical statements here. We'll talk about logical operators later. Equals to what? And so begins with D and equals to what? D. Say bring those ones. Now, if any word begins with D and is not equal to Dave, it will not bring it in. Do you understand? If any word begins with D, okay, let me just add Daniel. Let's understand. So I want to use that filter again. Want to use the filter again. Let me see whether they. Filter. I clear the filter, bring it in again so that it will pick this Daniel. So I want it to filter words that begin with D and equal to Daniel. Let's see. You can see that Dave begins with D, but it is not equal to Daniel, right? That is why it cannot bring that Daniel, I mean Dave here. But if I come here and say select words that begins with D, which is equal to, if I take all here, or if you compare any two things, all will always return true. But and, if the two are not the same, it will return false. So, or equal to Daniel. Let's click OK and see what happens. You can see that it returns both Dave and Daniel, because Dave starts with what? D, and Daniel also starts with D. Do you understand? Is that understood?
Yes, I understand.
All right. So filter is a very important tool for data analysts because we use it to filter. We can filter nations, we can filter data, we can filter to see duplicate data too. All right, and so on. So if you want to clear field from a list, you can use this to clear it. You can also sort by color, right? If there are colors, if you give your data colors, you can sort by the color. So you can also clear filter here if you want to, right? Then and the colon returns to normal. Then if you want to remove this entirely, you can still come back to where you added it and click it off, and it goes off. So that's what it is. So, but normally what clear filter does is to remove the filter. Just know that this clear filter clears the filter and sorts states from the data, from your data set. Then when you clear, you can reapply can reapply the filter to the same data. Finally, I want to talk about this. We have a lot of options here. But let's quickly run down and see what it does. If I have a very big data set, and assuming I know that I have the word Bob in the data set, but I can't see it right on this window here. Maybe Bob is down, maybe 5,000 something. So I can use my find Bob. So when I click find next, it will look for Bob and highlight it for me. Look at Bob here. Next, it finds another one. Next, it finds another one. Next, it finds another one. Finds another one. Just like that. It's normal find. We also have replace, find and replace. This replace is the same dialog box, but this time around we have find what? I said Bob. Replace Bob with what? I say Bobby. You can replace it one by one, or you can replace everything. You can find all, or you can find it one by one, right? So replace all. I will just click replace all. If you click one by one, as I said, the first one, replace, it will replace this one and move to the next one. You replace. What if you have thousands of Bob in your data set and you want to replace at once? That is when you use replace all. It will replace all and tells you and gives you the summary of the replacements. Right? All done. We made 5 replacements. I hope that is understood. The next one is go to. Go to. We don't have maybe some formulas like that in this sheet. All right. So you can, this reference, you can say go to. But even as it stands, I can, if I want to come here to this point, I can say go to AA. The formula is missing a range, right? A1. Let's use that. You can see my cursor jumps to that place. The same thing is applicable if you are going to a particular point, any point you select. So if I want to come to T6, my cursor is in AB1. I want to run down to, I want to take my cursor to T6. I can now say go to T6. Sorry, T6. And my cursor comes down to T6. I hope that is understood. Now go to special can go to any of these places. If you have notes in your document, you can go to those notes. If you have constants, I will show you what a constant is. If I want to start doing this one by one, it means we'll be here till maybe 12:30. But all this, you can go to any of this. If you have a note in your document, you can go to that note. If you have constants, right? Please, someone should remind me next time we meet about this constant. I will show you what a constant is. So if you have a formula, you can go to that formula, all right? Is that formula for numbers? Is it for text? Is it for logicals? Is it for errors? You can go to blanks. You can go to current region. You can go to current array and objects. You know, role differences. I think I need to have another class and then let's talk about this one. Because if I just explain it like this and pass, you may not understand it. All right? Since we are in Excel and training first, so I need to explain some things here to you, or else you may not understand, except you go and do a research on your own and know how these other guys work. Now, formulas. No formula, no cell with found with formula. Right? Assuming we are here, where is that place? Did we do any? Okay, let me just calculate this. Let me just take a sum of that. I can now say go to formula. You see that my cursor comes straight to this place because there is a formula here. This one is note. We don't have notes here. Conditional formatting is not here. Constant, we don't have it. Data validation will only come in when we get to data here. And then objects. I hope you've learned something. Please, whatever we learn, try to practice it or else you will forget. Practice it and then make use of them, and you'll be glad you did. So thank you very much once again for attending class today. Bye for now.